All right, everyone, welcome back to the Golf Unfiltered podcast. Joining me today is special contributor to Golf Unfiltered. He's been on the show many times before. Kris McEwen, at Kris McEwen all over the socials. How are you,
Sure.
sir?
Good, man. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. I'm glad that we were able to connect. We had a fun little weekend. The
It's
PGA
true.
Tour, PGA Tour is back in the Chicagoland area for the first time in, I believe, 3 years. I think 2020 was the last time at Olympia Fields, no
Right.
less.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
During the dark ages, and we were
Yeah.
able to go. We were able to go hang out at the BMW Championship during the FedEx Cup playoffs, and wow, it ended up being quite the tournament.
Man.
And we're just going to talk a little bit about it.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. I thought it was there's a lot that happened. I mean, I went Friday and Saturday, you and I went Friday.
Mhm.
Had a little bit of FOMO on Sunday when Vic made his run. I can't imagine
Yeah,
that. I mean, the buzz that was occurring on Sunday, I can't imagine what that would have been like to be there.
yeah.
It's super cool.
I mean, for real though. I mean, so really quick. Yes, we went those days that you mentioned, and Olympia Fields is, as you pointed out, which I thought was rather astute, my friend, is one of those older courses. I think it's 100 years old, literally.
Yeah, this year.
And
Yeah.
yeah, right. And from a viewing perspective, just going to go watch golf, it was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
every those of you listening and or watching, um, old courses, they like to do the whole green and then 4 paces away is the next tee box. And boy,
Right.
does Olympia Fields have that. And we loved every moment.
Yeah. Lots of fairways that are parallel too. So like you and I, we had a really good kind of rhythm where we were going back and forth between a couple different fairways and we could watch shots come in and watch their approach shots within, yeah, like you're saying, 20 steps from each other.
Yeah.
It was super cool. And the fact that like we camped out on, was it green 8 maybe?
Hmm.
Um and we were on the green. I mean, we were right up on it because there's those, like you said, they're small. Well, the greens are small, but the area between green and tee boxes is real tight. So we were standing, not 10 feet away from the cart path, but we were 3 feet away from the green. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Like kids in a candy store, you all say. And
Right.
it was fantastic because, look, folks, as much of a and we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but as much of a golf hotbed as the Chicagoland area is, and first and foremost, Olympia Fields is 40 miles outside of Chicago. All right, I throw
Right.
that out there
Right.
just for you, Chris. I
Right.
know you're the Chicago guy. I am not. I'm a burb. I'm a bourbonite.
We were watching
Um,
the broadcast. We were like, why are they taking pictures of the city?
nah,
They're not even in the
it's
city.
not even close. It's not quite like Rich Harvest Farms bad,
No, no,
but
it's yeah. So I mean, it's a metro stop. There's a metro stop there, so that
true.
you can take the train. If you can take the train somewhere, then it's
Right.
technically an actual Chicago suburb. Yeah,
That is very true. A main
yeah.
artery runs through it, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that golf doesn't come to Chicago every year, I think it's a travesty. It's just absolutely a travesty. And I was not. It was nice to see. Bob Herrig of Sports Illustrated said the same thing
Yeah,
today in an article. You know what? We got to bring this thing back. The BMW Championship used to be the Cialis Western Open. Prior to that, it was the Western Open, and it was at Cog Hill for the longest darn time. And now it's not anywhere to be found, and it's going
yeah.
to, I think, Colorado next year. I'm ornery about it, Chris.
I mean, it is weird, right? It's
Yeah,
odd considering the historically significant golf courses that are in, from the south side, like Olympia Fields. Not a lot up the North Shore. I guess you have to go farther up to Conway or something like that to be able
yeah.
to host. But I think those courses that, I mean, they've proven themselves, and I think golf fans have proven themselves in this, in this area, that we show up really well. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, and the golf courses show up really well too. I mean, Olympia Fields North is gorgeous.
It really is. I mean, you've had the so let's kind of bridge into that. So, and before I do that, by the way, I'm a horrible podcast host. My buddy
That's not
Kris and
true.
our audit. and our other buddy Bill, they host That Range Life, which is another podcast that you should go subscribe to. They've got a YouTube channel as well, of course. It's a show sometimes about golf. You guys do a great job. They talk about music,
The dumbest
movies,
stuff.
the dumbest stuff.
Mortal Kombat characters in garage
Kombat,
sales. Right.
Correct. And then maybe if there's time, if they could fit it in, golf.
Sometimes
which is great. Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of Olympia Fields, you've had the chance to play it.
I have.
And you, when we were walking on, I forget, like by the clubhouse, which is a massive clubhouse, 100,000 square foot clubhouse.
Yeah.
You had told me, wow, it had been a while since you had seen a PGA Tour player or tournament on a course that you had played.
Yeah, I think it was the first. I think it was the first one. I haven't played any TPC courses. I haven't done like Aaron Hills or any of those. So I think this might be the first time that I could see on television and in person to see the pros play a course that I've also played. Although it was funny, I think I mentioned to you, standing at their tee box and looking down the fairway, a lot of the holes were not familiar because we were probably 80 yards behind where I teed off in a lot of cases. So I think number 4, I mean, they were way, way, way back and like 3 tee boxes back from when I played. So looking down that chute was not something I was familiar with, but the par 3s, I remembered all the shots, all the greens I missed on the par 3s that were 160 yards away or whatever. Hole 1, which is the long par 5, not 613 yards long when we played it. But I remember birdieing that first hole, which was fun. And
nice.
yeah, I mean, it was cool to be able to walk the course and remember like, oh, I was over on the right side of the fairway in this one, or I was in the trees on that par 5. And yeah, it was super fun just to kind of be able to actually relate to some of those shots for sure.
Yeah, totally. Similar feelings when it used to be at Cog Hill, is one of those things where it's like, oh, wow, we're watching a video game play out in front of us. Like these guys are just playing it obscenely well. I mean, John Rahm hitting driver off the deck on 15. It was insane. I got so angry.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that was, and shaping it into, he just missed the green. He was greenside, I think, right?
And he was upset.
Yeah, and he was upset about it. Yeah. And then seeing Victor on that same hole take 3 wood and just send it right was also fun. Like, oh, these guys, when they missed, that was a big miss. He missed hard. Yeah. But I appreciated that too. That was fun. He probably got up and down for par, but still.
He probably did. I mean, the damn guy shot 61 on the final day. I mean, it's absurd. And of a week that we saw essentially 3 course records because Homa broke it on the day that we went. Friday. Sam Burns tied it on Saturday, and then we get a 61 by Vic to win on Sunday. So being a big time podcast host like yourself,
right?
You guys, you don't talk a ton about the tour. We don't talk a ton about the tour at Golf Unfiltered. But you and I were there, and there was a lot of drama these days. I don't know if you've heard, there's a lot of drama these days in pro golf.
Yeah.
What did you expect going into that day? Did you expect to hear people like doing side conversations about stuff, or what were your expectations?
There were some, I did overhear some people talking about is Live here next weekend?
Maybe.
Yeah, someone was talking about going to that, like, hey, there's a tournament next week too. Like, I think there are 2 camps. Obviously, there's one camp where they have no interest in Live and who's playing on it and whatever. But I do think there are people that just love live golf, and they'll just go and watch any live golf. And I think some of those people, that's what they were going to do next weekend. And some of it is just being outside and having a beer with your pals and watching some, people hit really good golf shots, and that's all they need. They don't really care about, the financing behind it or any of the drama or anything else. And don't forget, there are way, way more people not on Twitter than there are on Twitter, right? So they don't even know a lot of, the background and drama around it. They just I want to go see Bryson hit a ball 1 billion yards, and that's enough. Right. Like, God bless him. I'll tell you what I didn't really expect though. And I've mentioned this like multiple times to you, I'm sure. as a little guy. There's a lot of us on tour. there are a lot, like even like Hovland is not a big human. Rory's not that tall. I mean, we all know Harmon. Like Harmon's my dude, right? Like Harmon is left-handed me, essentially, just better at golf. But yeah, I mean, they are whatever they're listed at is not true. They may be stretching it a bit, or they were wearing their shoes with the big soles when they got measured up. But I would. I mean, when I look at like Ricky was tall, but everyone else, I was kind of like, wait a minute, you're not tall. But yeah, so I wasn't expecting that. But then, the funny thing is, like, the big dudes are big. Tony Finau, big. Scheffler, big dude. John Rahm, big dude. Like these guys, there's some dudes that are like, oh yeah, okay, that's why he hits the ball, forever, because he's a big, huge guy. Yeah.
Right. Well, even Scotty and your boy Sahith, I mean, those guys.
Sahith,
it was funny.
Yeah.
We were, let's just say 500 yards away from a tee box. And you're like, oh, that's Sahith, because he's got that gait that is very.
That's right. I know my man's walk. I know my man's walk. Yeah. I can see him a mile away. Like, oh, there's my dude. Let's go over here. Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I admittedly don't. Maybe I wasn't paying close attention, but I didn't hear too much rumbling about like the drama that I like to get upset about on social media.
Right.
And it was so refreshing, honestly.
For sure.
Because I wrote about this in an article on golfunfiltered.com too. That'll go up tomorrow at the time of this recording, with a lot of great pictures from Kris, by the way. Kris is a great photographer. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I mean, those are really, really good.
They're fun.
The ones that you said were a mistake and they were still great really pissed me off. But
I had the focus all wrong. I was like, it works.
Like,
it works.
It's so good. Where was I going with this? It was nice to just be there in the moment. And I remember watching Rory when I think we were on, it was 8 or 11, whatever green we were in. And Rory was sitting there just kind of leaning on the putter, the universal stance when you're waiting for your partner to putt.
Right.
And he's just kind of looking at the crowd. He looked like he was just kind of taking it in for a little bit. I'm sure he was thinking about any other thing. Yeah. But he wasn't defending the PGA Tour at a podium. He wasn't worried about Greg Norman or whatever the hell at that point.
Yeah.
He was just there, and we were there. And it's like just those little simple moments where it's like, hey, you know what? This is actually okay to just watch people doing this thing that we both love.
Yeah, I bet you those guys appreciate that too. Mm-hmm. Like that's what this is what they've always wanted to do, is just be on a golf course and compete at the highest level. They don't want to deal with all the extracurriculars for the most part. I feel like that's like their, those rounds we were talking about that. Like these dudes are not in a hurry ever. Nobody is in a hurry. Even when they walk, they're walking like, God, could you get to the ball already? We're waiting for you. But yeah, like
Adam Hadwin, the rehearsal.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Adam, I forgot about him. Sorry. Same with Wyndham. Oh boy. Whew. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if we want to talk about that, but yeah, I'm sure those guys, that's just like their, that's their time to just be, in it and not have to deal with all the other stuff. So I can only imagine that's probably that's when they're happiest, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's fun because despite being the second largest sport market, I think, we don't get these guys there all the time.
No.
And, we were fortunate and privileged enough to go on a media credential. We were able to go and have a good time. It was great. Won't take it lightly or take it for granted by any means.
For sure.
But, one of the things that I always found just so funny, and I don't even know if it's the appropriate word to use, but so you had arrived a little bit later than I did on that Friday, and I went and I got my free media lunch, Kris. I went to that media center and I got it.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and there's Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel, and then there's Doug Ferguson from the AP, and there's a few others, and they're just sitting there, and you could tell this is just another day at the office for them.
Right.
And there was none of that like allure or whatever. And here's a guy like me and you, we don't do this often. We talk about it all the time, but we don't get to go do stuff like that all the time. I don't want to get jaded,
Yeah, right.
you know.
I know.
It's like I want to still be able to enjoy stuff like this.
Yeah.
And man, I hope that I don't ever get to that point.
Yeah, it's true. There's something to be said about what, like, we don't really, this isn't a job for us. And
No,
I think that, like, if it did become a job, I would definitely stop doing it. As in, like, if it felt like work.
same.
But yeah, I almost kind of feel bad for those guys. They just, they're doing what they love in theory. But I'm sure they're looking forward to the end of next week and taking a bit of time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. There's a little different anticipation level and excitement when you walk in. You're looking around. You're like, for us, like, oh, there's like, as soon as you walk in, you're in front of the practice green, and then you walk past the range, and you're like, oh, that's so and so, and that's so and so. Look at this. Look at Glover's putter that's as tall as Kris that he's using, and like that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it's fun. It is. It's it is. But it is fun. It is fun to just hang out and watch shots come into a green. It doesn't even really matter. Like, we just camped out at a couple different ones. My wife and I did the same thing, and we just camped out and watched shots come in, and it makes for a good day. Just gotta hang out. It's fun.
It really does. Yeah. And the only reason I like to mention it is because of all the stuff that I complain about it all the time. You're like my whipping boy, God bless you, for all the stuff that I deal with. And Nikki and Dan, they're sick of hearing about it too, so I got to talk to somebody about
it. Yeah.
But all the drama that's been going on, and I don't know what I was expecting to get in there. Walking in and watching the tournament, and I don't know, but it wasn't like the water cooler conversations. It wasn't. All the stuff that we're supposed to pay attention to on social, or at least that's what everyone's talking about. And, oh, by the way, these guys, they're just going about their day to day pretty much. They're playing great golf. They're laughing. There are a few instances where, like, Lucas Glover, who's probably a really great dude, playing with Rory that one day.
Yeah.
He's saying great putt. He's, they're out there enjoying themselves to a degree. I'm sure a few of those guys weren't enjoying themselves.
Yeah. We were watching
a couple of those shots.
We were watching, I think it was the 5th green, maybe, on Saturday. And Jordan and Sahith were playing together, I think, on that day. Which is cool. And Jordan Jordan hits the best shot off the tee that we had seen as we were standing there, like through 7 groups or something. He just destroyed a golf ball and hit it forever. Probably had 120 yards in, hit it short of the green somehow. And then ended up bogeying the hole. And and the thing is, as he sunk the putt, he picked his ball up. He's like, sick bogey, Jordan, just full on. He's just full Jordan Spieth, like just full on psycho, just hates everything. Wanted to break his putter over his knee. It was just classic angry Jordan Spieth. It was wonderful. So
that's
wonderful.
The best kind of Jordan Spieth.
Right,
absolutely.
Right.
Did Greller escape unscathed? Did he get?
He did. He did. It was all unforced errors. Errors. Like, I don't know what he was doing with that approach shot, if he was trying to get too cute or what, but it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Yeah. So, you can hear those guys talking to themselves or to each other, crystal clear. I mean, that's how close we were.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're right up on them. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone who's listening to this or watching this has never been to a pro tournament, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I mean, I don't care if it's PGA Tour, Live Golf, whatever. Hell, go to the USAM. I know it's over now, but tournaments like that. Yeah. Just go and experience it, and don't
For
get
sure.
Wrapped up in all the nonsense that I'm going to complain about and others. Go and enjoy the game. At the end of the day, that's what it really matters. And quite frankly, I mean, aside from all the volunteers that were working there that could not tell me where the damn media center was, the people who were working there, they just want to have a good time too, and they're extremely helpful. I don't think there was a negative experience to be had. From a fan perspective.
For sure. Yeah. No, I thought it was great. And it's kind of like the pace of it. Now, here's the other thing too is, and we talked about this. So when you're at one of if you're at a normal PGA Tour stop, there are, whatever it is, 150 participants or something, like 150 golfers out there. Thursday and Friday, at least before there's a cut. But like, if you can get to a playoff spot where there's only 50 golfers, especially during the week, like when we were there on Friday, it wasn't super crowded yet. You had access to, you could sit at one hole and see everybody come through if you wanted to, it's really, really fun to, and we kept, as we bounced around, we'd see the same golfer coming through because there's only 50 of them on the course. So I thought that was pretty fun too. I kind of forgot about that. I went to the BMW at Conway whenever it was, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years ago, whatever. And I remember, you could find some of your favorite golfers that like Ricky didn't have a huge following when we were there. It wasn't like it was super crowded. So you could just hang out with Ricky and Keegan for a couple holes if you wanted to. It's pretty cool.
Wyndham Clark,
that was pretty fun.
Wyndham Clark just, he won the US Open recently and there was no one around him.
I know, it's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's like we could walk up to Sahith and Justin Rose, and watch them tee off and hit some shots too. Cause everyone was waiting for, Scheffler and Rahm playing together was certainly the draw on Friday. And so I think that's where most people were that wanted to follow golfers hole to hole, versus, we were just kind of hanging out at different holes and watching whoever came through, come through. Which that's the other fun thing too, is you can experience a tour, a tour stop however you want, pick away. There are people sitting in the bleachers or whatever you want, grandstands, and just having drinks and hanging out. There were people like us that were just walking the course and seeing who we came across. And then there were people that were following their guy, which is pretty cool. You can't do that in any other sport, which is pretty fun.
No, you can't. You really can't. You really can't. So, all right. So, as far as the bigger picture, I guess we should talk a little bit about, what this means in the grand scheme of the playoffs, just to make this an official BMW Championship recap. They head to Atlanta.
That's right.
They head to it this week for the Tour Championship. It's the top 30. Everyone was talking about bubble talk. Who's going to make it in, who's not. They were trying to drum up this intrigue about the playoff system that everybody knows sucks, but they were still trying to make it exciting. And they're going to have a hell of a lot of heat down in Atlanta.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers to Lucas Glover.
Yeah, and Lucas Glover's pants.
Wow. Link Soul is on the hot seat, literally. We love those guys, but man. Is there anyone, based on what we saw in person, I know we don't watch a ton of golf throughout the year, Kris, but we're aware of what's going on. Is this something that Scotty Scheffler, who I believe is starting at number 1, he's the 10 under par currently right now. They haven't started the tournament yet.
Right.
Does he run away with this? Is there anyone else? Victor obviously is going to be a hot hand that we keep in mind. Who would you like to see Chris McEwen hoist? Yeah.
I would definitely love it if Victor Hovland did it. I think Victor Hovland, here's something that's crazy, Adam. Victor Hovland is roughly a year and a half older than my oldest child.
Okay.
Is that nuts? But listen, like the year that he's had, right? He hasn't missed a cut all year. They talked about that yesterday. He's been on the cusp. He's 25 years old. And I just feel like this would be his, kind of coming out, right? Like everyone sort of expected it from him. And he just seems like a really good, happy human being, an appreciative human being. And I think, not that Scotty isn't, I know he is too, but, I think the bigger story would be Scotty's. This is a repeat of last year. He started 10 under last year at the Tour Championship, and he did not win it. Rory won it, right? So there's starting to be sort of a this recurring theme around Scotty Scheffler, who's by far the best ball striker on the tour, and it's not even close. But he's almost -3 strokes gained with his putter. And you saw that.
Look at you with stats.
You saw, wow. You saw that on Sunday. I read my morning paper, my morning newsletters. Get ready.
And you probably do get the paper still.
Easy. God, I wish I did actually. But anyways, it's hard to be delivered in a condo. You have to go downstairs. It's a whole thing. Anyways, so you saw it on Sunday. He 3-putted a few times, along that back 9, I think on 16 or something, or 17, one of those two.
Mhm.
You know, like now it's sort of like, can he actually hold on to a lead?
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Hovland won that tournament straight up. In my mind, like
Yeah.
you shoot a 61 on a Sunday, 8 birdies on the back, whatever it was. You won that
Mhm.
thing. You did, you know, Scotty Scheffler didn't lose it necessarily, but going in this week, I don't know, man. I feel like
That's
there's a
going to
lot
be
of
tough.
pressure on him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and as you and I like to dabble with the sports books,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look hard at Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. I was going to ask, where's Fitzpatrick and Homa? Because I feel
They
like
got to be in top
they,
5. I'd
and they've
have
been
to get.
playing
I should
really
probably.
good golf. I know Homa kind of
Yeah.
he stumbled on Saturday a little bit, and came down to earth. Like, well, he shot at 62 or whatever it was on Friday. But,
Yeah.
I think, you know, if he's within 3 or 4, I could see home. That'd be a fun story too. Cause
Yeah.
that's another good dude. I would like to see that.
Yeah. Same. He is 6th, Homa currently.
Okay. Okay.
And who else we were talking? Oh, Fitzpatrick. He's 10th. So he's a little bit back there. He's got some work to do, but totally doable based on what we saw. And I mean, there's a lot of these are all Ryder Cup names. Let's be honest. Scotty Scheffler, Victor Hovland, Rory, John Rahm, Lucas Glover, I think makes the team. I don't know. This isn't a Ryder Cup show, but maybe he does. Then we got,
boy, that could be a show all on its own. The Lucas Glover conversation.
And I'll tell you what, just real quick about the Ryder Cup. You know, my 2 buddies are going to Rome to go see it. I'm not going to Rome to watch golf, Kris. I'm not doing that. I know you want to live in Rome.
It's true. I'm going to live and then die in Rome. Yes.
There you go. That's the name of your book. Live and then die in Rome. I'm telling you, I don't think the Europeans, I don't think they're getting enough positive coverage that they should. They're going to be hard to beat.
They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. You just look at their roster and find me the weak point, especially with their, you know, weird ability to play so well in match play in that format specifically.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think the U.S. is not a foregone conclusion. The U.S. winning that thing is not by any means. Yeah.
So they can continue to bicker about whether or not Brooks Koepka deserves to be on the team. Brandel. I'll tell you what, Victor Hovland's coming to win.
I don't want to play. Do you want to play against Matt Fitzpatrick or Victor Hovland head to head, straight up, like match play? Jesus.
Imagine having. I'm just looking at Tommy Fleetwood as
Nope.
Nope.
I don't want to play him either.
Gonna do that. Nope. Absolutely not. I mean, there's just so many big names that are good. I mean, Terrell Hatton. I mean, he's going to be there, and he might literally get into a fist fight with you. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. Yeah.
I feel like
he might just punch you.
He doesn't fight other people. He just beats the crap out of himself. Really.
Did you see, real quick, did you see that video of this nonsense that the tour was trying to do? They had some dude in the players' locker room giving all the players, okay, here's the bubble update. This person needs to finish here. There's still some good. And then they were doing it for Hatton, and he couldn't care less. It's just you know what? I'm leaving. He literally looked like he was trying to run away from the guy, and good on him for not just cussing the guy out on TV. But my God, I love that. I love that.
That dude, you talk about a guy who just wants to be on the golf course playing golf, and that's all he really cares about. Yeah. That's another little guy too. I can appreciate.
He is. Yeah. All right. So we're just about at time. We like to keep things short and sweet here. I didn't do any of my sponsor reads, which stinks. So I'll be sure to include. I'll run through them right now, Kris. We got to pay some.
There you go.
We are brought to you, of course, by our friends over at Bridgestone Golf. And by the way, that range light is also brought to you by Bridgestone Golf. So we keep it in the family.
That's right.
Yeah, they're great.
The best ball, ball to play by far.
Hey, agreed. Absolutely agreed. We're also brought to you by our friends over at Cog Hill. You've heard us mention them a few times. They know that Troy and them over at Cog Hill will be okay. Adam forgot to do the ad read again, but it's fine. They're great. CogHillGolf.com. Sharp Focus Nutrition, of course, is another partner. Kris, have you tried them yet? Sharp Focus
I
Nutrition?
have not, but I've listened. I've listened to the podcast. I've heard that can, rather than me having a hot dog, something terrible at the turn, right?
Yes. Good job. Yeah,
I pay
they're
attention.
great.
I listen.
You do. I'll bring you one of their little snack bags next time we play golf, which I think is Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And then, of course, Mizuno Golf. They've been partners for a while too. They make the best irons in the game for sure. And I've been talking a lot about their wedges, folks. The S23 wedges. I love them. I know our mutual friend Bill loves them as well.
He does. Yep.
Yeah, he's a big gearhead. I can't wait for that garage sale he said on your show that his family's going to do. I'm just going and I'm just going to steal stuff from him.
So funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
And you're going to say what a disaster.
Yeah, that whole thing. Don't get me going on my garage sale rant again.
No. You leave that. You leave that for your show.
Right. Right.
All right, my friend. Well, we have we need to do more events and shows for Have Clubs Will Travel. We did one. It's on our YouTube channel now at Elgin Country Club. But we got stuff coming up. What is that whole thing about, Kris? Have Clubs Will Travel. What is our thing?
So it's you and me going and playing golf at a golf course, coincidentally enough, and having some of the food that they offer, have some of the drinks that they offer, the vibe of the place, and then talking about it afterwards. So on your channel and your podcast is the sort of audible piece of it, the after show, if you will. And then on my channel, I will be recording on the course and capturing drone stuff and shots and putts and all that kind of stuff. And so that's how we divvy up the content between us for Have Clubs Will Travel. But it's really just like, it's not just, I have no interest in reviewing golf courses. I don't rank golf courses, but I think every golf course has something to it that makes it unique and fun and cool. And so that's what we are seeking out, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a few buddies that are going to help us out. We're playing on Sunday. So we're going to go to another course. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
One that I haven't been to. Have you been to it?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Honestly.
I didn't know. I mean, I'm just being honest. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I live in a bubble. You know this.
It's true. You don't live like 15 miles outside of your house. You just don't venture out there. Yeah.
No. It's a scary world out there, Kris. So if you're listening to this, folks, I know there's a lot of you that work at golf courses. If you want us to come out, two idiots, come out to your course.
Yeah.
We'll be respectful. We'll come do it. We are equal opportunity golf course players.
Yeah. And it just so happened like the first one happened to be a private course, but like,
right. Doesn't have to be.
That's not the, we want the public ones, the munis, any, and we have a small roster. I feel like we're putting together and we just it's a matter of scheduling, but yeah, it doesn't have to be 18. It can be a short course, it'd be 9-hole, whatever you want it to, whatever you got going on. We want to come and see it and check it out.
Go follow Kris on social at Kris McEwen. Go and listen to that Range of Life show, sometimes about golf. And he's got a YouTube channel that you need to go subscribe to right now.
Right.
Hit the bell. Yes. We have one too. We have
one
too, folks.
Hit all the bells, hit all the subscribes, hit all the thumbs ups, please.
Do all the things. Right. All right, man. It was nice talking with you. We'll catch up and I guess I'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday. All right.